Hello and welcome to another episode of Words with Myself.
There is a lot of controversy around feminine and masculine dynamics. A lot of people talk about the roles of men, the roles of women, the roles of the feminine, the roles of the masculine. And it's often discussed as opposing forces, as if the feminine is against the masculine and vice versa. And the fact that this is so widely accepted probably explains why there is so much disharmony and dysfunction in our society. I'm going to make no effort to tiptoe around controversy, but I also don't want to delve into the dynamics or the specifics of what masculine is, what masculine means, what feminine is, what feminine means, how those energies present themselves, or anything to do with gender or anything like that. What I want to discuss, and what I find far more interesting than the particular strengths and weaknesses or pros and cons of gender dynamics, is how they manifest within ourselves. We contain both the feminine and the masculine energies. When two people are in a relationship, you can kind of see that masculine and feminine dichotomy play out. You see how the energies either flow together or clash and collide. It's very apparent. Let's say you have a man and a woman in a relationship, and they're having a disagreement. And the man goes off with his male friends and he starts moaning or talking about his wife and saying all of the things she does. You know, she's emotional and overreactive and she doesn't address the root cause of the problem or doesn't try to solve the issue. And the woman goes with her female friends and she discusses it with them and says that he doesn't understand, he doesn't listen, he doesn't pay attention to how she feels or take time to understand or make space for her emotions. And typically the male friends will agree with the male and the female friends will agree with the female, and then there becomes this rift. It's man versus woman. But within you also exists a female and male, effectively, a feminine and a masculine. And there is also a relationship between the feminine and the masculine. There is a synergy there also. And if the relationship between the feminine and masculine parts of yourself are at war or they are not harmonized, then that will manifest into your outer relationships. That will manifest into how you interact with people in the world and how you interact with those energies in the world. If you are masculine dominant and you see everything as logical or everything as a problem to be solved, you will not see all of the color of the world. You will not see how the emotion brings it to life. It will become very robotic, very structured, and quite likely very pointless and lifeless. Whereas if your feminine side was to be completely dominant, then things would be quite chaotic. They wouldn't have that structure to fall back on. They would be very momentary. Things wouldn't really be planned. Things would be spontaneous and how you feel in the moment. But that likely doesn't accurately represent any of us, because we are not completely feminine dominant or completely masculine dominant, whether you are man or woman. Instead, you are a blend. You are sometimes in your masculine and sometimes in your feminine. You sometimes are operating through your feminine and sometimes operating through your masculine. The percentages might be quite wildly off, but the further you drift away from 50-50, the more you enter into dysfunction. And this isn't to be taken literally, or we will never be able to discuss this topic accurately. If we get too hung up on specific percentages, like, it should be 60-40 or 40-60 or 30-70 or whatever, we will just completely erode the entire point. The point is, you exist as a human, and whatever percentage works for you, what you feel like creates an internal balance within yourself. You may be more masculine inclined, in which case you need to train and hone your feminine side in order to achieve balance. Or you may be more feminine inclined, in which case you need to train and hone your masculine side in order to achieve balance. And balance looks different for every single individual. It's not my place to tell you how you should be operating or, what percentage of feminine and masculine you should be. It doesn't work like that. There will never be a 50-50 split. It will never be perfect. But what you have to understand is that if you were to imagine an ideal romantic relationship between a man and a woman, that is how the feminine and masculine energies within you should be operating. If you were able to personify how your feminine and masculine energies interact with each other, you would probably see a great deal of dysfunction. If that was how a man was treating his wife or a wife was treating her husband, you would think that is a terrible relationship and they need to leave. Because typically we have this idea of how these energies should interact when it comes to two individuals that are separate, but within us, we seem to think that we should shut down that other side of ourselves. For instance, in a man, it may be that we suppress our emotions, that if we feel hurt or upset, that we cast that aside, that we don't let ourselves feel those things, that we shun them, and we say that we don't want to listen to ourselves. We don't want to listen to those parts of ourselves that say that we're hurt or we've been betrayed or that we expect better, and we think that we should tough it out or rise above it. Whereas if that was your wife coming to you and saying this is how she felt disrespected, she felt upset, she felt hurt, in a healthy relationship, you would expect that the husband would listen to her, that would make her feel understood, not to try to solve the problem, but to just make her feel heard. And within you, there is that feminine part of you that just wants to be heard, that just wants to be felt. And similarly, the feminine side, if that is doubting or criticizing or nagging or anxious or distrusting, then your masculine side is yearning to feel like a safe provider, to feel like you are nurturing, to feel like you are creating a space of comfort and trust and safety, to feel depended on, to feel like you know that you will stick to your word, to trust yourself. These are the parts within you that the outside world mirrors. The relationships between men and women, they merely imitate this internal relationship between the masculine and feminine energies. And the dysfunction that we see in relationships can be seen within us. And if you pay attention to what's going on within, you will find the same things going on inside you. You will find the same things that erode and break down relationships going on between the relationship between the two parts of yourself. I could sit here and speak about examples or, trying to clarify the point, but it doesn't need to be made. You can understand this by understanding and observing it yourself. That is the only way you will understand how this works. All you need to know is that within you, the feminine and masculine energies operate. And if there is disharmony within those relationships between yourself, there will be disharmony in your relationships outside of yourself. It will always cause breakdown. It will always cause dysfunction. Most people manage to have a resemblance of sorting out this dysfunction by having a relationship with somebody who has a complementary opposite dysfunction. So the hyper-dominant masculine who is aggressive and assertive and, what he says goes, pairs together with the hyper-feminine, wouldn't say boo to a goose, submissive type person. And a shocking number of relationships are functionally dysfunctional. They are functional because the dysfunction works together. These obviously aren't healthy relationships, but they are relationships. They exist. And this is the relationships that you will commonly find. Whereas healthy relationships, both partners are balanced. They have balanced energies within them. And when they come together, they allow those energies to play out together as well. They allow, if somebody is more masculine than they are feminine or more feminine than they are masculine, then they adopt those roles. But that doesn't mean that they're not in touch with their masculine side or not in touch with their feminine side. It's just that they allow their partner to play that role. It doesn't mean that the person isn't able to adopt that role. It means that they are able to relax into what they naturally want to adapt to, what they are best suited for, what they are most aligned to. If they want to be feminine and you want to be masculine, then there's a great synergy there. Whereas if you are both fighting for that masculine position or that head of the household type role, then there is going to be conflict. If the feminine dominant person isn't able to relinquish control and trust their partner, then there will be conflict. But all of this stems from how those energies operate within, how aligned and free and healthy the relationship is between those energies within. It is all an outward manifestation of those internal mechanics, that internal relationship. So if there is dysfunction within, there will be dysfunction outside. In today's society, we seem to be so concentrated in the outward manifestations of these energies, and we give absolutely zero regard to the internal workings, the internal relationship of these energies. We seem to think that because you are a man, you must do this, and because you are a woman, you must do this. And it makes no sense. And this is why everyone's always arguing all the time about the topic, because they fundamentally misunderstand how this works. There is no competition. There is no battle of the sexes. There isn't men versus women. There is no masculine versus feminine. Both are necessary. Both are beautiful. Both are spectacular. And every healthy person or healthy relationship I've seen has a healthy dose of both. Every single one of them. And that doesn't mean that both people need to be perfectly balanced before they get together. But what happens is within a good relationship that somebody has worked at, where two people have got together and tried to understand each other and tried to harmonize, they grow with each other. And within, you grow with each other. That dysfunction starts to erode and understanding takes its place. And I would say that is how you tell the difference between, two dysfunctional people that get together and end up functional versus two dysfunctional people that get together and become more dysfunctional. The difference is whether they are going closer to the center or further apart. If they're going further apart, there's more dysfunction and there's going to be more separation, less understanding, more conflict. Whereas two people that are growing together are going to have more understanding, more growth. They're going to become closer together. So that means the masculine is going to become more feminine and the feminine is going to become more masculine. Or they will both understand each other. They will both be able to play and operate with each other. They will harmonize. But unfortunately, a vast majority is not harmonizing. It's competition. It's fighting. It's conflict. It's combat. That is what relationships have become. It's not about even trying to harmonize or trying to understand each other. It's about trying to one-up or outcompete each other. And that will always lead to relationship breakdown, whether it's within you or outside of you. That will always lead to dysfunction. Thank you for listening.